So, back on planet where computers are meant to work, said no one. Yeah. Come out to the shed and computer's freaking out now, dear. It's like, I haven't touched you. No. Ridiculous. 25, 30 minutes later, it's like, I might let you use the computer now. Like, gee, thanks, mate. So I've got a piece of structural pine on for now. I'm just going to just make the start. I'm going to try and just make a bit of a sanding thing to go in my lathe. It's a disc. Nothing too flush. I'll round this down. If it's too small, I'll use this as the bit that goes in the chuck. And then I'll just glue another piece onto the other end of it. How you going, Chris? So I might only last about an hour today because I've been up. It's 11 o'clock in the morning and I've been up since 2 o'clock in the morning. I got up for a Detroit club meeting. So yay for me. There's not enough coffee in this world to I need some matchsticks or something, you know. How you going, Joy? So I got this piece here. Anyway, I'm just going to round it down maybe about that much down. I don't need a great deal of it. It doesn't. If the more it sticks out, the more it's going to wobble, isn't it? So just a little bit. I'll make a tenon for it and stuff, and we'll see how we go. Never know you like. Then I've got yeah, I think so, Joy, today. Yeah. Up the back there, I've got bowl, 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 vase, whatever you want to call it. Another one there. I've got to, I need to sand where I've taken off the tenon. I need to sand that little bit that I leave. I most probably won't get the sanding thing done for the lathe today because if this bit ends up turning to be too small when it's rounded down, then I'll have to glue a piece on, or I don't know. I suppose I could screw a piece on. Hang on. I don't think that piece wants to be in the lathe, though. Try again. No harm was done to the idiot turner. No, shit happens. Yeah, no, it didn't hit me, Joy. Just most things have a tendency to kind of go that way. No Robbo today. He's got appointments today. Right, try again. Sorry. I normally have it on mute. I don't think about those things. Don't be like that, mate. When you can't find something, you know it's time to clean your bloody shop up. How you going, Sid? Yeah, I'm gonna sand this bit flat. Just get rid of that little knobbly bit there, and get this little video just broke off there, and then that's gonna go on the chalk. Well, that's gonna have a sanding bit of Velcro glued to it, so I can put a sanding disc on it. I've got some little ones. Oh. Got all the matchsticks I've been making. Look. Nice one. No, not just yet. Anyway, Joy. There might be some in the future. All right, what are you doing? I'm just about to go to the bandsaw.
Oh, go for it. I just needed the jigsaw.
Hurry up.
And the bandsaw works now, does it?
Not the bandsaw. No. How you going?
Good. How about you?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm still awake from 2:00 this morning, so I'm a little bit
So am
seedy.
I.
Oh, hey, there'll be enough out of you.
I like the laugh. You do have a great laugh.
Can I just say something though? I
Yeah.
have to. I know it's not going to get very many votes, but I have to put my vote in for you guys doing a live at night, late at night, so we can have it as early in the morning, like 8 o'clock in the morning, and not 2 o'clock in the morning. I know it won't get very many votes, but hey, yeah.
So you'd rather have it earlier?
Well, if you guys had it about 7 o'clock at night, it would be about 8:30 in the morning for us. So that's a little bit better. It means I can actually have a sleep. I don't care. I'm just
Yeah, I know.
I'm just giving the
It's
organisers shit from a international standpoint, you know.
Yeah, but then again, Paul in
Yeah.
England,
Yeah,
you know, and others that there's a couple kids there that Paul's been helping to mentor in their group that
Yep.
I think would be a lot of fun to have because they're really good. And they've had no mentoring except Paul and a couple others who help them online. And I mean kids, they're like one's 11
Yep.
and doing fantastic work.
Yep.
And then the other one is 16.
cool.
And
Oh,
they only
come on.
know each other from being online.
Get them on. Come on. Let's do this.
So I think the more we can get involved in young people, because that's important.
Yes. Sorry, I am listening. I'm just rummaging through my shed looking for something.
I take it Robo went to sleep.
Nah, he has a million appointments today.
Oh, an important man.
Yeah. So the chiropractor can break his back bones, you know. No such luck today. Lose my head if it wasn't screwed on. Yeah, you missed the UFWO before, Dr. Bob.
Okay. And what does that stand for?
Unidentified wood object.
Ah. So
No,
you
this,
lost something off the lathe.
It wasn't braced in there properly. It's just a piece of structural pine.
Yeah.
Yeah. No biggie. Well, I don't think so anyway.
Just between centers.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty. It's going at a slower speed too, so it's not a really an issue. Darn it! Why is it you can never find those things that are always around, except when you need them?
Yeah.
How you going, Seth? How you going, Mike? So I just quickly knocked this up. So I'm gonna glue a bit of Velcro to that, so I can have some. I've got a whole heap of sanding discs that
Oh, okay.
that I can no longer use because I melted the crap out of this one. I melted
Oh,
Velcro right off. So
haven't you got any you can glue back on?
no, that's it. It's the bit that's on the bottom where the Velcro sticks to.
Oh,
It melted.
okay.
It completely melted it right off, and like there was actually, I couldn't even find any of it, to be honest. It was just shredded. So I thought I better make one that's a little bit more heavy duty, you know. So when I find the disc pads, they can go on with it.
Yeah. Well, I know that they've got the replacement, uh, both hook and the loop side.
Yeah, I bought a mother load of them when I bought that piece that I just showed you, and yeah, so they're no good to that anymore. What are you looking at, Seth? Piece of structural pine that I've turned down a little bit. What do you want to look at? I got plum.
Yeah. You just have to get the bottom off that still.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do today. It was my first failed captured ring, hence there's no ring.
But it still looks good.
Yeah, this is American oak. This stuff. I've got a. I think this is camphor. This stuff. Nice thin one.
If it's the camphor like we have, you can tell it by smelling it.
Yeah, I did. I had a bit of a whiff, but it's been sitting around other bowls. Yeah. Anyway, so there's that. I think I got this piece from Robbo's house actually. Got the artsy fartsy bowl.
Yes.
Wouldn't call it a bowl, call it a dish maybe.
Yeah.
Still got to
It's
take
yeah.
that off.
You can put fruit in it or
Yeah.
use it to put uh, hot plates in.
Yep.
At the table.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna put myself on mute for a sec because I'm gonna do a little bit of sanding. But if anyone else wants to come in, have a chat with Dr. Bob while I'm.
Oh, okay. There, I was going to put a link in.
I beat you to it.
Yeah, come join us. Okay, Sid. Yeah, we had a good day today with our guest. Probably one of the, I can't say better meetings we've had at our club, but it's way up there. Last minute, get back to you. I had a text message here from a stranded kid. That's taken care of. Yeah, we had John Jordan in today. He did a remote from his own facility. And he spoke about wood and the movement of it and how to take a blank or actually raw limb and or trunk of a tree when you're cutting it and how to best pick out where to cut the bowl slabs out of to make bowls. So you could actually use the rings of the wood as part of the artistic part of the sculpture or turning, and or you could also use uh, different techniques with different types and colors of wood. Uh, it was very fascinating to learning how wood works and compensating accordingly. Yeah, you need. We have a lot of very good, very good professionals that we use for teaching. Oh, it was. It was very good, and he used examples of that he has done, and he everything that he's been turning for years. His big thing is being to do hollow forms, very thin, and he turns them wet. Uh, and if you know how the grain is running, where the sapwood is, if you want to include it or not, and just how to include it as an accent piece, it was really a fascinating. It was supposed typically it's about an hour and a half, but he was almost 2.5 hours uh, because he had so much to share and talk about and interact with our club members. Uh, as if we were all just sitting in his shop talking to him, which is something I like the way that we set it up. And Jay and Robo were in it, and we also had our Paul from England as a member, and he was part of it. Yeah, I have never turned a root ball. I've known some people to do it, but not necessarily turn it. And a friend of mine that, well, he called himself an artist, and I won't argue with him, but he used to get into trouble as a kid because he would trim his mother's rose bushes and flowers in the yard, climbing flowers and trees to make them look like animals. But at that time, that isn't and wasn't popular, and they didn't look too much like animals, except in his mind. But he liked to do similar things. And he's doing it. Oh, he's retired now a long time ago, but he was one of the what do they call him? He was a plant. There's a better name for it, but sculpture. And he made a lot of money going around to some of the big high-end homes and hotels and just taking their plants that they had, and he told them what to plant for it, and then he would turn it into a sculpture. And oddly enough, in the winter, he is back here in Michigan because, well, not this past winter, because of COVID, but he comes back for the big ice festival here, where in Western Michigan they have a fairly good sized ice festival where they use ice carving with chainsaws and chisels to do all sorts of sculpture work. They make a sculpture garden of it. Then he takes and goes back to work and does it in New England and New York. Yes, yes. There are, I've known a lot of people like that that just they have to wait for the right piece. Uh, when I lived in Alaska, the Aleut and the Clinkets, uh, one of the two they had that actually like doing, well, we would call them totem poles, they don't, but it was a story pole and that would tell the story of their village or the story of their family, and they'd keep adding to it. Except that one of the two, they insisted on using driftwood, uh, that were the pieces that had an emotional feeling about them, and then they would carve them to fit within this piece. And it would take sometimes years to complete them, but they were really nice looking. That's good. That's something I have never done. Uh, I have watched them carve the totem pole, and as I say, I've had a friend of mine when I lived up there in Alaska. I know him through our Lions Club, and he would make story poles. 12 foot, wow! And that's 12 foot high, including the piece that was used to embed it in the ground. Hi, Effie. Jay is just doing some sanding, trying to get caught up on that. He burned up his sanding pad, so he's had to make another one. He just overheated it, and of course, the plastic melted, the hook and tooth pieces. So he's making another pad. Joker, why don't you pop in? The link is just above on the chat. Both of you. Northwest tribes. Okay. That'd be trying to think of them from Washington, Oregon, Idaho, northern Utah. Uh, the Oahe is the only Native Americans that, when I lived out west, that I got to know a lot of their history about, because when I was in college, I had a roommate that was 60% Oahe. But that's the nickname that they were called, from the Oahe Mountains. But they, I can't remember the name of the. There were several different groups of people who lived in the Oahe Mountains out there, and they named the mountains after them. And yeah, I've heard that of the Native Americans. Well, we can't really say that because in Alaska they're Native Americans, and they have their, well, it depends what they call them. It's a story pole, but most tourists come through and say, "Oh, they're totems," but they're story poles for the history. Depending on who's doing it, the one of the groups, if it was the Tlingit or the Athabascan, one of the two of them, they made them their. In essence, it was the story pole of their family. And the other, they had another group that their reason for having the poles were uh, to tell stories, such as a great hunting that season that they went on, and how they had to kill. They got a whale, and you could actually, after a while, get to read them and understand the story that they were telling. And they'd get a big bear, and that was an image on it, so you could read the pole itself for the adventure. You're back with us, Jay. Jay.
Oh, that's a dusty business, that is.
So what did you think of today's meeting, Jay?
Yeah, I liked it. It was good. Like I said to John, it was worth getting up at 2:30 in the morning for.
Yeah.
He didn't seem to think so, but
It's interesting that it's a wood turning club and nobody turned a thing.
yeah.
But boy, it really enlightened me a lot on looking at the wood now.
Yep. Well, a lot of the stuff that he said about the pith and stuff is what Robbo's been trying to drum into my head anyway, so a lot of it was familiar to me.
Well, I've known to stay away from it, but being able to use the pith appropriately as part of being able to create artwork,
Yeah.
because you really need pith to create artwork like he was doing.
Yeah, some very, very nice stuff there I had. This is peppercorn. I did it a fair while ago. Don't ask me when, because I couldn't do it.
You got to put a date on the bottom.
I should do, hey? Yeah, that video that I took, Dr. Bob, I have to try and find a way of uploading it. Nothing seems to want to upload a giant file. Can't do it over Messenger. It just has a hissy.
Yeah, Messenger just doesn't have, not designed for that type of handshaking.
Yeah. About the only thing I can really do is just show it on my phone and put the phone up to the camera. That's about the only thing I can do, I think. I got this piece here from way back when.
I remember that.
Yeah. Someone said it was a bit suggestive on what it could be.
That'd be an interesting bowl on a table for, say, holding fruit, biscuits, stuff like that at a meal.
Is that one?
And from today's talk, when you look at that, you can understand it.
Yeah.
It's so balanced in the way you did it.
Yep. And this was a wet turn too, this one. Yes, Mike. I got this one here. I'm a little bit annoyed with myself with this one, to be honest. I was taking the tenon off, and the non-stick mat got stuck to it. You see?
Oh,
Yeah. So not really impressed with that one, to be honest. And it's stuck there good.
alcohol won't take it out.
No. No, I reckon it's embedded into the lacquer. But that's not helping me unless I sand that off. These are the discs that I was talking about. So I've got a little bit there to still use.
Uh-huh.
I'll go and buy some Velcro on the roll tomorrow and stick that to that piece of wood.
Well, you got to make sure it fits the disc. Take them with you and make sure it'll catch.
Oh, they're lengths. It's actually just on a roll, and you just pull it out, and it's only about that wide. So I'll have to put a couple of layers.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I can cut it to fit it.
I know we got several suppliers here. You can buy just the adhesive hook side.
Yep. I think it's pine. Yeah. Hang on a sec.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
I got lunch brought out to me. This was just a roadside find, this wood. The crack was there, but it wasn't that wide.
Yeah.
Those went for a walk and didn't take me. How rude.
It's a good pencil holder.
Yeah. And this is plum.
Plum?
Yeah. Like under there, I've just taken off the nib that's left on there from the tenon.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the purple vein.
Yeah.
Around it there. Hang on, Sid. I'll let you in a sec. And that purple vein runs right through it. How you going?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Mhm.
Got a finishing off projects day today.
Yeah. Last couple lives, to be honest. Try and get them out of the way. I'm sick of moving them to the side, and I've got no room left.
Yeah, all the storage space you got there.
Uh-huh.
Time to start giving them away to neighbors.
Yeah, pretty much. So.
Yeah,
I got-
finished a couple of mine off last night.
Sid,
Yeah.
that's for you.
What's that?
That is red gum burl.
Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh. As Dark would say, that's a bit sexy.
Another one there. I think this one's just pine, but it was just one that I was dicking around with colours and stuff.
Okay.
But that followed all of his rules today.
Doing it like that.
The pith goes straight through the sides.
How you going, John?
Hey, Hal, real well, thanks. Hi, Doc.
Hey,
Bob,
John.
Sid.
Howdy.
It's lunchtime here.
Yeah. Smoko.
Yeah, our demonstration was fantastic today, but there was no demonstration. It was pure teaching, but it was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. I finally was able to get registered electronically, but it was too late. So Jeffrey said he would send me the code and I could watch the recording of the whole thing,
Yeah.
which will be about half of what you got to experience.
No. Well,
Because
he could probably send you the whole thing. The meeting, the BS, the talking between each other, and
yeah, I
then the
think he is,
demonstration.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that's
he
going
is.
to be two different pieces.
Mhm.
You see, the meeting will be online at our website.
Right.
So you can always go to our YouTube site and see it as soon as he gets it up.
No, but for members only,
But the
you have to.
demonstration
be a
will
full
be in the
member.
member only site.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll see what he sends me here in the next couple of days, and I'll pop over and take a look at him.
Yeah, because on the member only site, you as a member have access to that.
Yeah. Jay, I just turned a vessel today that looks very similar to the one you've got sitting in the foreground on your lathe. Kind
This
of a
one here?
deep. Yes. Yeah. Is that a round bottom or flat? Yeah, it's similar. What's it look like outside? Yes. Yours is more flat. I turned a round bottom like a Hawaiian calabash.
Oh yeah. This is plum. This wood.
Mm-hmm. Mine was turned from probably a noble fir or a pine Christmas tree stump that has been kicking around my scrap pile in my shop for quite a while.
So it's nice and dry then.
Yep, very dry. I turned it using one of the little cup cutter type tools that Doug Hunter is involved in, along with Jimmy Clues and Doug Thompson and whom else, other people.
Yep.
6 millimeter cup.
Yeah.
I picked something up in the shed for you last night, Jay, too, that I'll bring up if I remember.
Yeah.
I cleaned out the dust out of the base of my bandsaw.
Oh yeah.
And then
You got some
not long
colours?
after that, hey?
Got some nice colours, did you?
No, but it's not long after that, someone was mentioning that filling cracks in bowls, bandsaw dust is really good to fill the void and then put the super glue in over the top of it.
It sure is. Yep.
That's what I've been doing, but I've been just collecting little minute bits of dust left on the lathe from
Bottom of
sand.
the bandsaw, like I would actually put a cup in there and scoop it out.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
to
I'll
put it in
do
a
that.
couple of big Ziploc baggies for him.
I don't want to spoil him too much.
But it's only dust.
I
And
want
it's
some for
fully
me too.
integrated too. You don't have a segregation problem to contend with.
Look, I have to have the air conditioner going at work now.
Well,
Well, that's out of my coffee percolator.
Ah, yeah.
I have the air conditioner going. It dries it very nicely.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you want some coffee, do you? I go through about a kilo of coffee a week, Sid. So if you want some coffee, I've got
I don't go
plenty.
through quite that much.
Well, I go through a pot a day, but I do my pots different than most people. It's a trick I learned. Oh heavens, back when I lived in outside of Fairbanks or in Fox, technically, is that I would make an extra strong coffee in the morning, typically 3 big scoops of coffee. And then I would have it first cup and drink it with the caffeine to wake me up. And then I'd take the remaining coffee and just add scalding hot water to it. And I would take that with me to work in the winter. It would keep me warm on the sled. It was only a 22-minute run with the dogs from where I lived in Fox, the back way onto campus there in Fairbanks.
Mhm.
And my neighbor was a musher, and Iditarod.
I don't think
couple
anything
of
would keep,
times.
would keep me warm in that icy weather.
Oh, 15 below isn't that bad. 20, 30, then you get worried about it. But it's all in how you dress, in the layers, and of course the type of, to me, the type of collar. And you see all these people wearing these jackets, and they I don't know if they think they're macho, but they're wearing the jacket with the big fur ruff that goes straight back as part of the hood or front of cap. But in reality, that isn't what it's for, as John knows. That's supposed to be a tube in front of you,
Yep,
of fur.
that's right. Exactly.
Because that keeps your mustache and beard from freezing, and then when you go to scratch it, it breaks off, and that's embarrassing. Don't ask me how I know.
Happened to a friend.
First
right, Dr.
winter, I come to work and I kept getting laughed at by some of the staff, and I couldn't figure what was going on. I thought I'd done something. I went and looked in the restroom. And I was missing this side of my mustache and part of my beard.
Broke his handlebar.
Yes.
Trying
I
to start
didn't realize it could get that cold.
The other thing on the those faux fur parka hoods, they lay back so tight and are often tacked back to the hood itself, so you can't actually flip it forward like you're saying. My own native-made parka has got Wolverine fur,
Yes,
which
mine
does
did
not
too.
hold ice at all.
That's
Wolf
what I
and
had.
Wolverine. Yeah, actually, I've got two trims. I've got the Wolverine for the main fringe and the Wolf for the other.
How'd you get Hugh Jackman to stand still for so long?
Yeah, that's what I had. It was made for me by a woman in the Lions Club that I was a member of there in Fairbanks. And she lived up by me in Fox.
Yeah,
At that time, Fox wasn't even on a map.
but everyone
Only
knew
thing-
where it was.
The only thing out there was a gas station, a restaurant, and a bar, and the post office. The post
The
office,
essential.
when you had to go in the gas station to get to the post office, because you couldn't have a post office attached to the bar with a door other than a fire exit
Yeah.
in the lobbies. But the man that ran the gas station was the postmaster too. Small town.
I've actually got a much better way to keep warm, Dr. Bob. And it's almost foolproof. You just
Oh.
don't go anywhere where it gets below zero.
Oh, but the
Yeah.
the money was worth it. And what got me was that it was a dream come true. I'd been doing some small town, small industry motion picture stuff because I shot 16 and some bunch of 35 millimeter, and because that's what I was trained in technically in the military. And it was really interesting because they needed people for documentarians on the pipeline, and the grant was issued to the University of Alaska Fairbanks. That's who ran the grant program because they had a film program for rural documentation, of which the pipeline paid for as part of the goodie stuff that they, in order to get the agreements with the state, and that it had to be documented, and they wanted students and that to be able to get credit at doing it. So they put a lot of money into it. So I had, once I took over the program after the first winter, because everyone left, almost everyone left that was in the department, because they had all come in they were outsiders, and they just could not handle the weathermen saying it's a lovely 40 today and it's going to warm up even better. It's going to warm up to 26.
Below.
And yeah, why say a below? I mean,
It was understood.
I suppose it's
yes,
fairly
understood.
obvious, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah, after you've been there, about Halloween time, in October, then you can always tell the Chichacos, they're gone. It's just way too cold for them. Even that's why the pipeline had to pay such big bucks to get people to work on it. A high school, a student that was 17 or 18, they could work in the winter months on the pipeline doing dishes. And that's just scraping and feeding, dishwashing machines. For the pipeline camps, they got room and board. And the wages was $11.75 an hour for 8 hours. Double time up till 10 hours. But since they were 12-hour shifts, they got triple time and a half for the other 2 hours a day, because it was 12 on, 12 off. And of course, there were no taxes on it. And if you were going to go to college or university, they would put money into that as a slush fund for you. If you worked, I think it was a year or something, you had to continuously work and not just a few months. It would accumulate. And you were treated just as the adults and the regular pipeline workers were. Come vacation time, here's 6 places you can go in the world, and you fly an Alyeska plane, and we put you up in a hotel that Alyeska, that was the builder. The rooms are included, the food in the hotels included. Any of the tours or trips, you want to go home, whatever, they had a nice, I think it was a 2-week or 3-week vacation package, but you had to work, to get it. And whether you were high school or you were a magnificent welder, you got the same vacation trips, with some exceptions. I mean, they didn't let you take off to Tokyo. Well, Tokyo was all right for the high school kids, but Germany, Switzerland, there were a lot of countries that was just a no-no on. It was too expensive. But there were regular flights back and forth to Japan all the time. But you got a vacation out of it too, and money. And if it was spent to a university outside of the state, because the university was always free to residents, they kicked in a bonus on top of what you'd earned. And the bonus was added after you completed the semester. You had to guarantee that you were getting decent grades, and the pipeline still, Alyeska would pay the kids the education bonus And then if they came back to work after school, they went back with pay raises equivalent to whether they had worked all through school on the line. So they really encouraged the young people to go to school. And that, I think, was a great thing Alyeska did. But it wasn't talked about much because they didn't want to have an influx of miners working on the pipeline. They tried that when it first started, and it just did not work right. So it was just made known to recruiters, college recruiters. You can go to our school, and the pipeline will pay for it, and these are your fringe benefits if you work on the pipeline type stuff as a resident. So they were up there recruiting. So it was a great place to be. At least I liked it.
Thanks for coming in, Mike. Take it easy.
See you, Mike.
And they were very liberal. Alaska said you could have, what was it, John, 3 pot plants per adult in the house, legal to grow?
Well, I say they look the other way.
Well, yes, but
For three
per,
pots, yeah.
yeah, 3
Basically
pots.
3 per family, yeah.
So you're
So you
saying
could grow
3
your own?
pot plants, Dr. Bob, not 3 pot plants.
And
Depression
the other
solution.
thing that really made me stop and think twice is their liquor laws at that time, and I don't know if it's changed since, but the state believed in the father being the head of the family. And as a father, you could allow your kid to drink whiskey or beer or whatever. You had to take responsibility, but it had to be at home. And it was legal. If you said they could do it, they could do it. If they got caught anywhere else, then the kid was in trouble. Because the father is the one that raised the kid. And I've seen it in the winter where we would get together with our Explorer post and the parents would come with their kids for a winter retreat or a summer party and hit a pizza place. And some of the fathers, they'd order 2 beers and they'd hand their son one. But as long as the father handed it to him, that was legal.
Mm-hmm.
Even in public, their kids could, but they couldn't order it, and they couldn't pick it up off the tray that it was served on, and the server could not hand it to the kid, the juvenile. It had to be not the mother, the father had to hand it.
Well, we know what mothers are like.
Seemed
That
like it
really
worked.
surprised me about the laws that they had.
That worked pretty well too.
Responsibility and accountability.
Exactly.
Yes. But have they changed it, John?
Well, I'm not sure. One of my grandsons is in the fire and police unit at the Fairbanks International Airport, and he lives in Fairbanks. I'll ask him next time I see him. We're 350 miles away from Fairbanks, so some of what Fairbanks does slip by what Anchorage does.
Yeah.
Anchorage is closer to the lower 48 rules.
Yeah, and Fairbanks was basically Athabascan.
That's right.
And some Aleut.
Mm-hmm. And a few Yupik.
Yeah.
It was actually a good, always thought it was a very good community because it had you didn't have the separation of races like you do in the lower 48.
Yeah.
Everybody lives there. Everybody helps everybody else. Everybody has a job. And I've always enjoyed that, working around Fairbanks.
Oh, and
Anchorage
we had
isn't
a lot
quite
of
that
fun.
way. Yeah.
No, Anchorage, when I was there, I'd fly in there for meetings with Alyeska headquarters and have to take a film
Yep.
crew down. Even though I didn't, my contract I had was only from, I forget the mile mark on the highway, but in the pumping station, but north. They divided the pipeline in half.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 7 pumping stations
Mm-hmm.
that I was responsible for, and then it ended up being 9 or 10 later, and because other people that they hired just couldn't handle the weather. But we shot a lot of footage. We had so much film that we shot. We kept joking before we were finished, we could go to the moon.
You probably could.
Well, we processed our own film on campus. We got
Yeah.
our own film, our own processor for it all, and it was all in color.
Well, it beat packaging it up and sending it down to the lower 48.
Oh, they couldn't handle it.
No.
Uh,
So the lower 48 is the rest of the states except Hawaii.
That's the continental states below the Canadian border, down to the Mexican border.
I heard you kept saying it. I thought, yeah, I was just working out.
48 contiguous states is what it is, but we call it the lower 48 because we're number
Okay.
50 and Hawaii is number 49. Or no, we're 49, Hawaii is 50. Now they're talking about bringing Puerto Rico in.
and DC.
Well, DC is a federal administrative
I know,
area. I
I know.
don't think it can be a state. I think
They'd
they're
have to
smoking the
change
wrong
some
brand of pot.
serious laws to do it.
That's right. Puerto Rico, I can see. I have some reservations about Puerto Rico, but on the other hand, there were a lot of reservations about Alaska and Hawaii as states also.
Yeah.
We'll see. Give the politicians something to chew on.
But I'll tell you, the biggest joke, and these are only, and I can't say it anymore, but there were people who just did not study in schools who would keep arguing that Texas was bigger than Alaska.
Yeah. Well, there's the LBJ thought that.
Yeah, and I would constantly say, well, we could cut Alaska in half and Texas would be the 3rd largest state.
Yes. Actually, Alaska is 1/5 the total landmass of the United States.
Yeah.
And we stretch across the lines of longitude all the way from the East Coast to the end of, or almost to Japan. And in latitude, we stretch essentially from how can I put it? We're as tall as Norway. We go all the way from the south of Norway to the North Cape in our north-south direction.
Yeah. People don't realize that because they don't know what a Decatur map is. They just,
Yeah,
that's not taught anymore unless you're going to go into that business.
that's right.
I used to get a big kick out of saying that Well, Alaska is the most northern state. It's the most western state. And people would, what? It crosses the date line. Doesn't
Yep.
that make it the most western state? It may be only about 9 miles across, but it's 9 miles.
Technically, you're right.
So it's the most northern, eastern, and western state, because when it crosses the date line, it's on the east side.
Yeah.
So it's the most northern, eastern, and western state. Now, I did a lot of these TV show stuff, and I hired several line producers that worked for us there.
Hmm.
Because it was always, nobody could come up and film because they didn't know how. And when they asked if they could, Alyeska wouldn't give them permission.
That's pretty.
Oh,
Yeah, look, I turned something yellow. Look,
yeah.
it's a I just
How'd you get the fluffy bits onto it, Joe? That's clever.
that's a secret, that part. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll just go full screen for a second. I'm just going to take that little nub out of the middle there. It's most probably too big for a chicken egg, but I reckon I should be able to get an ostrich egg in there. But that's the kind of shape I was going for.
I like the base.
Hmm.
Just something a little bit different. I'm trying to make Fabergé eggs, so thought I'd turn myself some stands. Exciting stuff, you know.
Yeah, right. I better go back to work and go and do something.
Yeah, you better.
I better. Yeah.
The bloody boss has been ringing me up. Is Sid in there again?
I knew I shouldn't have given him your number.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys, take care.
All right. See you later.
No, if I don't duck in, I watch me live back,
Yep.
and I worked out there's a lot of pixelation through it, so I'll have to try just streaming on YouTube without anything else, I reckon.
Was there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe
You
it's
need
on
all
the
the bandwidth.
maybe it's on the computer you're watching it back on, because there was only one point that it got really pixelated, and we said something, and
Okay.
so
I'll have
I don't
another
know.
look on a different computer.
Yeah.
That's probably the sensors are watching. They pixelate you.
Redacting the live.
Read that. Yeah.
Dark
All
was
right,
in.
okay.
Oh,
See you later.
Robert. See you later.
I need. See you, Sid. Yeah, I need to go too. My wife has got a program on TV she wants me to watch with her. It sounds like a pretty decent one.
Ah,
Yeah.
Oh, John, thank you very much for coming in.
Yeah. Well, I get in more often. I just usually don't remember it until 9 p.m. my time, which is a little after you're shut down, I think.
What time is it there now?
It's about 6:50
Oh yeah,
p.m.
because
Yeah.
I started them. I'm starting them 2 hours earlier than I would normally do them, to try and compensate for everyone either
Yeah.
going or coming into daylight savings.
Hmm.
give Paul a
Well-
little more chance to get some sleep
Yeah.
from England.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you again, Jay. Bob, I'll see you down the
No
road.
worries.
Yep,
Take it easy.
Take care.
yep, you too.
Yep, I reckon on that note, I'm going to knock it on the head.
Okay.
It's time for my head to hit the pillow, I think.
Yeah, it's about 11 o'clock here.
Half
And
past
you didn't get any.
noon.
you didn't get any sleep.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm really glad that you two showed up at the meeting today. And if you noticed, it kind of took our demonstrator by quite a surprise.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I mentioned what time I got up to watch him.
Yeah. Oh, I knew that. I wasn't a mind reader, but I knew that.
Yeah.
Because that makes them feel good too.
Yeah. Yep. Having people from all around the world and not just the local club that they'd normally be. It's a
Yeah.
bit
And
more of an outreach.
for you to afford to have him, for you and a half a dozen people, it would be expensive.
Yeah, I bet. Yep.
But with our membership, that's where a big chunk of our membership dues goes to. If you got, over 100 members, you can afford to bring in people like that.
Yes.
And what you pay in membership is a pittance compared to what everybody else pays. But we have more benefits, like the next week's party and get together. It's going to be a swap and shop. People will bring stuff and swap what they got last year and couldn't use.
I was looking forward to that swap meet too. Damn it.
Well, I'm going to try and get a bunch of it on video so I can play it back for you guys.
Sounds good. We can do share screen.
So you can see what the people are like and what we do when we get together as a group of wood turners.
Yep. Sounds good.
Take care.
All right. Take it easy.
I'm
Thank you
gonna
for coming in.
Get the dog out and back in again, and I'm going to hit the sack.
Yep. Sounds
Thank
like a
you
good
for
plan.
inviting me. Take care, my friend.
See you later.
Yep.
All right. Scratches later to the tree people. Bye. Bye. Bye-bye. See you later.